Chloe wanted to eat the lemon tarts from that shop in the west of the city again. She queued for 2 hours to finally get them and ate 3 in one go. December 11th. When the safe opened with a click, the string of numbers displayed on the screen stabbed into my heart like a poisoned dagger. This is not my birthday, not any of our anniversaries, and not even our daughter Lily's birthday. This is Ethan's childhood friend Chloe's birthday. I was chilled all over, barely able to stand while leaning against the wall. The so-called true love of this life was never me from the very beginning. On my 60th birthday, I personally tore apart the colossal lie of my marriage. I had a fight with Chloe today. She threw away the flowers I gave her last time. I coaxed her for a long time before she calmed down. With trembling hands, I opened the heavy iron door of the safe. Inside, there was no gold or jewels, only some scattered small items. A somewhat chipped porcelain doll, a pair of outdated silver rings, a delicately framed small oil painting depicting a beach at sunset, and a faded plush frog. I don't recognize any of these things. On top, pressing down, is a thick diary, a leather cover, its corners worn, bearing the marks of time. I took a deep breath and opened it. Those unavoidable social engagements, important client dinners, and company team-building events Ethan mentioned all turned into romantic dates with Chloe in his diary. The handwriting was Ethan's, and the date started 29 years ago, continuing up until last month. There was no mention of me or Lily in the diary, only one recurring name, Chloe. Today I took Chloe to the newly opened amusement park. Her claw machine skills are still terrible, so I helped her catch the biggest bear. She smiled like a child. Chloe said she liked the seaside sunset painting I did in college, so I redrew one for her. She happily kissed me. I accompanied Chloe to the silversmith's shop, and we made a pair of rings together. Although simple, she said it was the best gift she had ever received. The life scenes I once longed for: claw machine games, making rings, watching fireworks at the amusement park, walking in the rain, he fulfilled them all for Chloe. Even the flowers and cakes I occasionally received were the leftovers Chloe picked or things she didn't want. The diary wrote, Chloe doesn't like roses, says they're too tacky, so she gave them to Ava to avoid waste. Bought too many lemon tarts, Chloe couldn't finish them, so she took the leftovers home for Ava as a midnight snack. I felt like I was being slowly tortured with knives, blood dripping profusely. It turns out that in his heart, I was just a secondary choice, a recycling station for the leftovers of his love. 30 years of marriage, like a huge joke. I collapsed to the ground, my mind completely blank. Ethan, my husband, how did we end up where we are today? On my 60th birthday, as usual, he wasn't home. There was a note on the fridge: Ava, there's an urgent meeting at the company, and I have social engagements tonight. Don't wait for me. Happy birthday. Not even a single word of congratulations in person. I had long since gotten used to it. When did it start? Perhaps it started when he got promoted and his social engagements increased. Perhaps it started when I was optimized out of Global Corp, and he confidently said, I'll take care of you. Memory surged like a tide. Ava, stay at home with peace of mind. I promise to give you and the child the best life. His promise still rings in my ears. I believed him, quit my job, and became a bona fide housewife. Every day revolved around him and the family, cleaning, doing laundry, and cooking. Ethan wasn't a picky person. He tossed his socks anywhere, never put used cups back in place, and the study always looked like it had been ransacked. As for me, I had a mild obsession with cleanliness and couldn't stand a speck of mess at home. In the first few years after marriage, he would still symbolically help me with the big cleaning. Later, he became increasingly busy with work and came home later and later, so the household chores naturally fell entirely on me. During my pregnancy, my emotions were extremely unstable, and I often lost my temper for no reason. Ethan started leaving early and coming back late, saying that the company was busy and the projects were tight. It's not that I never doubted him. I even entertained thoughts of divorce, but every time I made up my mind, he would appear just in time, gently coaxing me with small gifts and sweet words. Looking back now, I was really easy to appease, or rather, I just wanted to find an excuse not to divorce. After our daughter Lily was born, she was frail and often sick, running to the hospital every few days. I devoted myself entirely to my daughter. My temper worsened, and I became haggard and exhausted. Ethan avoided it even more thoroughly. Home seemed to him like a battlefield to be avoided at all costs. Social engagements became his most common excuse. At that time, I was too tired and trusted him too much to ever doubt the truth of those social engagements. My daughter gradually recovered, and my temper improved a lot. Ethan came home more often, and the smiles on his face increased. Our life became calm and warm. After 30 years of marriage, we hardly ever raised our voices or argued. The neighbors all envied us as a model couple. I thought this was what it meant to hold your hand and grow old together. It turned out that the 30 years of peace were nothing but a carefully woven lie by him, and my own self-deceptive fantasy. I thought of Ethan in his youth. He would ride his bicycle across half the city to bring me a bowl of freshly made hot noodle soup. When I was harassed by some thugs, he would take off his coat and drape it over me, shielding me behind him. On the day of the first snow, he would buy warm, roasted marshmallows and wait for me under the street lamp after my evening study session, slipping my hands, red from the cold, into the pockets of his coat. At that time, there was light in his eyes and warmth in his smile. How ridiculous. When did he start to become the way he is now? Was it on the day recorded in the diary, 29 years ago, when he reunited with Chloe? I walked up to the mirror and looked at myself reflected within. Fine wrinkles crept around the corners of my eyes, my hair was streaked with silver, and my hands were rough from years of household chores. Years of hard work had made me look much older than others my age. Yet in the diary, Chloe was described by Ethan as time never defeats a beauty, saying she was still as radiant and charming as a young girl. Why did I have to spend all my youth and effort on this family, only to end up like this? Why can she take everything from me so easily without doing anything? A surge of anger and unwillingness, unlike anything I've ever felt, blazes fiercely in my chest. No, I can't just give up like this. I want to live for myself once. From today on, I will start to love myself. That night, Ethan came back smelling of alcohol. I didn't leave the light on for him as usual, nor did I prepare honey lemon water. Why should I? He walked into the bedroom in the dark, mumbled a vague good night, and immediately fell asleep. I lay awake all night with my eyes open. The next day, I decided to give myself a few days off. I did not make breakfast. After Ethan got up, he wandered around the kitchen but couldn't find anything to eat. He asked me somewhat dissatisfied, "Ava, why didn't you cook today?" "I'm tired and want to rest for a few days," I said calmly. He was momentarily stunned, then tried to fry an egg himself, but ended up making a mess in the kitchen and burning the egg. "Forget it, let's go out to eat," he said somewhat embarrassed. I took out the divorce agreement I had prepared long ago from the drawer and handed it to him. Ethan saw the divorce agreement, and his expression changed from stunned to shocked, then to disbelief. "Ava, what did you say?" His voice trembled. I said, "We are getting a divorce." I repeated each word clearly. He suddenly knelt down in front of me with a thud, grabbed my hand, tears and snot streaming down his face. "Ava, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know I was wrong. Please don't leave me. I can't live without you. I love you, Ava. I really love you." He apologized incoherently, repeatedly saying sorry and love. But now, looking at his pretentious act, I only feel disgusted. What he loves is that nanny who can take care of his daily meals and living for free, serving him comfortably. What he fears is that after losing this free nanny, no one will manage his messy life. "Ethan, let's get a divorce." "Ethan, put that act away." I pulled my hand back. "I already know everything." His crying abruptly stopped, and a trace of panic flashed across his face. "Chloe, December 11th, safe, diary." I spat out these words coldly. His face instantly turned pale. "I'll give you 10 days to think it over." I looked at his distraught appearance, without a trace of satisfaction. "For these 10 days, stay at a hotel. After 10 days, give me your answer." In the following 10 days, Ethan did not contact me. I was glad for the peace and began planning my life after the divorce. If it were before, I might have softened. On the afternoon of the 10th day, I received a call from an unknown number. "Love, is this Ava?" "I'm Chloe." The female voice on the other end carried a faint, barely noticeable sense of triumph. I sneered inwardly. What was meant to come would always come. "I want to talk to you." We met at a cafe. "Know what?" Chloe was well-maintained, looking at least 10 years younger than me. She wore an exquisite suit, had light and elegant makeup, and carried an air of superiority in her every move. "Ava, I know you and Ethan are getting a divorce," she said bluntly. "I hope you can make it easier for us." Fulfill? I felt like I had just heard the biggest joke. "Chloe, are you mistaken about something? You were the one who interfered in my marriage." And now you want me to fulfill your wishes? Ethan and I truly love each other. She slightly raised her chin. We've known each other longer than you have, and our feelings run deeper. If it weren't for that twist of fate back then, Ethan should have married me. Truly in love? I sneered. Would true love make you the mistress for 29 years? Would true love make him set your birthday as the safes combination, yet treat his wife like a free housekeeper? I paused, watching her face gradually darken, then continued, do you think you've won? You're just picking up the trash I discarded. If Ethan really loved you, why didn't he divorce earlier and marry you? Why make you wait all these years, sneaking around in secret? Chloe's face turned pale and then flushed, her hand holding the coffee cup trembling slightly. You. She was so angry she couldn't speak. Me what? I picked up the coffee in front of me and took a small sip. Instead of begging me to help you here, why not go back and ask your Ethan if he's really willing to give up everything for you and give you a proper status? Chloe suddenly stood up, threw out a just wait, and left in a flustered manner. I let out a long sigh. What's the matter? Ethan's silence over the past 10 days, and Chloe's provocation today, only strengthened my resolve to get a divorce. A man like this, a relationship like this, isn't worth wasting even a single second on. I want to love myself well. I began to live for myself. I studied various travel guides, planning to see this world I had never truly appreciated. I enrolled in online courses to learn painting and musical instruments, things I wanted to learn when I was young but never had the chance. I go to the library every day, absorbing all kinds of knowledge to enrich my inner self. My life became busy and fulfilling, and the smiles on my face increased. On the 11th day, Ethan came back. He looked messy and exhausted, with sunken eyes and a scruffy beard. Ava, I've made up my mind, he said hoarsely. I won't get a divorce. After all these years as husband and wife, and with Lily, we can't just fall apart like this. Ethan, it's too late. I looked at him calmly. I've already given up. No, Ava, you can't do this to me. He became emotional, grabbing my arm. We will be together forever, never apart. His eyes were a little off, carrying a kind of obsessive madness. I was a bit worried and took him to the hospital. After the doctor's examination, he said that he was just emotionally very low, showing some signs of depression, and recommended more rest and relaxation. After leaving the hospital, I used Ethan's phone to contact Chloe. Chloe arrived quickly, and when she saw Ethan's haggard appearance, a flicker of pity crossed her eyes, but she immediately switched to a guarded expression as she looked at me. Ethan, stop pretending. I placed the signed divorce agreement in front of him. Sign it. It's better for both of us. Ethan stared blankly at the divorce agreement, then looked at Chloe, and finally, with trembling hands, signed his name on the agreement. I took the agreement and turned to leave. Tears inevitably slipped down uncontrollably, not for him, but for the 30 years of my youth that have passed, and the true feelings I once misplaced. Not worth it, really not worth it. After the divorce, I moved out of the home that once held all my joys and sorrows. Ethan messaged me a few more times, saying he was mentally unwell and physically uncomfortable. I only replied with one sentence, go find Chloe. He sent a few more photos of empty wine bottles, with the caption, Ava, I feel so terrible. I scoffed, still putting on a show. Ethan, put away that sympathy-seeking act. It won't work on me, I replied. After that, Ethan fell silent. A few days later, he suddenly sent me a photo of the riverside. The sky was overcast, and the river water was murky. The caption under the photo read, Ava, if it weren't for you, what meaning would my life have? Was this a hint that he wanted to end his life? I remembered that when Ethan was young, he didn't even dare to ride a roller coaster. Once, when we went to an amusement park, I forced him onto the bungee platform, and he was so scared his legs went weak, almost wetting his pants. Someone like that would be willing to die for me? I forwarded the photo to Chloe, then blocked both of them. I thought the matter was over, but new troubles came one after another. My daughter Lily came back from a business trip out of town, and upon hearing about our divorce, she rushed to my rented apartment and harshly accused me. Mom, how can you divorce Dad? He's such a good person. Why are you making such a fuss? Do you know how embarrassing it is for me at work because of your divorce? My colleagues are all talking about me behind my back. You should apologize to Dad immediately and get back together with him. Stop making unreasonable trouble. I looked at my emotionally upset daughter, feeling my heart grow colder bit by bit. Lily, if your husband had another woman on the side for 29 years, keeping you in the dark like a fool. What would you do?" Lily was stunned for a moment, then confidently said, "That must mean I wasn't good enough. My charm faded, and that's why he changed. I will work hard to change myself and win him back." I looked at her in shock. Her words reminded me so much of how I was manipulated by Ethan back then. I suddenly realized that Lily's mental state was somewhat off. Her eyes were unfocused, her speech was disjointed, and her emotions were extremely unstable. I immediately took her to the hospital for a checkup. The diagnosis was like a bolt from the blue: schizophrenia. The doctor said the cause might stem from postpartum depression a few years ago that was not treated timely and effectively, combined with recent stress, which led to a full outbreak. Postpartum depression? Lily never mentioned it to me. I didn't believe him. During that time, Ethan used work as an excuse and was hardly ever home. Out of sight, out of mind. I was busy taking care of the sick Lily and dealing with Ethan's indifference. How could I pay attention to our daughter's mental health? It was my negligence. It was also Ethan's selfishness and indifference that indirectly led to the tragedy of his daughter. I immediately contacted Lily's husband, Mark. Mark was on a business trip overseas. Upon receiving the call, without a word, he bought the next available flight and rushed back. He appeared at the hospital, weary from travel, and upon seeing the haggard Lily in the hospital bed, his eyes instantly reddened. "Ava, thank you for telling me. Nothing is more important than Lily." Mark held my hand tightly, his voice choked with emotion. This sentence, how familiar it is. I remembered that in college. Ethan also held my hand and solemnly said, "Ava, nothing is more important to me than you." But now, the person who says this sentence has become my son-in-law. Ethan was no longer the boy he once was. People's hearts are fickle, and vows are easily broken. Before long, I heard that Ethan had married Chloe. The wedding was rushed and absurd. According to the neighborhood gossip, Chloe forced Ethan into marriage with a mental health issue diagnosis report and a fruit knife in hand. I felt as if struck by lightning. On the wedding day, bright red wedding invitations were posted on the community bulletin board, while an ambulance was parked downstairs in case of emergencies. A nosy bystander recorded a video and posted it in the residence group. Ethan remained expressionless throughout, like a puppet on strings. Chloe, on the other hand, wore a look of smug satisfaction. The day after the wedding, I received a WhatsApp message from Ethan. "Ava, can you come to the thank you banquet Chloe and I are hosting? I know this is cruel to you, but I need you to help shut those neighbors up. I'll give you 200,000 as a fee for showing up." I looked at the message and laughed angrily. 200,000? What does he take me for? Fine, 200,000, not a cent less. Remember to transfer it in advance, I replied. He probably didn't expect me to agree, hesitated for a moment, then quickly transferred the money. I took the money, not for him, but to disgust him. Also, to draw the most definitive end to my failed marriage. I recall the wedding between Ethan and me. It was in a modest rented room, with no family or friends, no lavish feast, just him and me. He used the money he had saved by living frugally to buy me a small silver ring. In the drizzling rain, we recited unspoken vows to each other. He said, "Ava, I will treat you well for a lifetime." I said, "Ethan, I do." At that time, though we were poor, we were full of hope for the future, with only each other in our eyes. And now, for Chloe, he held a grand wedding ceremony, lavish to the extreme. What a world of difference. I appeared as promised at Ethan and Chloe's wedding reception. How ironic. The banquet was held at a 5-star hotel, filled with guests, and the scene was magnificent. I found an inconspicuous corner to sit down and quietly ate the dishes. Coincidentally, most of the dishes on the table were my favorites. I guess Chloe's taste is similar to mine. The ladies at the neighboring table were all notorious gossips in the neighborhood, now loudly and fervently discussing all kinds of explosive gossip about the bride and groom. I heard that the mistress forced the marriage at knife point. The groom doesn't seem very willing. He kept a scowl on his face the whole time. Exactly. I heard he even tried to commit suicide before, all for his ex-wife. TSK. What kind of mess is this? I was distracted by the gossip and even forgot to pick up the food. The wedding was halfway through when suddenly an accident happened. A runaway car smashed through the hotel's glass doors and sped straight toward the center of the banquet hall. The crowd screamed and scattered in all directions. In the chaos, I saw Ethan instinctively pounce towards Chloe, holding her tightly beneath him. At that moment, My heart felt as if it had been pierced by something. I remembered that many years ago, I had also faced a similar danger. It was during a mall promotion. The crowd was dense, and suddenly the shelves collapsed. Ethan was right by my side at the time, but he didn't protect me immediately. I was hit in the leg by a falling shelf and the pain made me pass out. When I woke up, I was lying in a hospital bed, with Ethan by my side, looking full of guilt. I pretended to be seriously injured and extorted a large sum of money from him, making him buy me the latest phone and handbag. I still remember, what I felt most heartbroken about at the time was not my injured leg, but the ice cream that had fallen to the ground and been crushed underfoot. Because of this, I even scolded Ethan harshly. Looking back now, it seems so childish and ridiculous, but at least back then, I would still cry, throw tantrums, and act spoiled. And now, as I watch the thrilling scene before me, my heart remains calm and undisturbed. After the chaos settled, Ethan and Chloe came over to toast with our table. Chloe linked her arm with Ethan's, wearing the proud smile of a victor on her face. Ethan, on the other hand, seemed somewhat distracted, his gaze drifting toward me from time to time. I was immersed in the latest melodramatic gossip from the ladies next to me about the groom madly in love, the bride taking advantage of the situation, and I half-heartedly raised my glass, wishing you a lifetime of happiness together. The smile on Chloe's face deepened. Thank you for your blessings, Sister Ava. She deliberately emphasized the word sister. Ethan looked at me, his eyes seemingly shimmering with tears. Ava, I wish you happiness, he said hoarsely. I met his gaze, a trace of relief curling at the corners of my mouth. Thank you. Without you, I am already very happy now. I'm ready to travel around the world, and the first stop is Paris. Ethan's hand holding the wine glass trembled slightly, and the color drained from his face instantly. I didn't look at him again, put down the wine glass, and left early. The moment I stepped out of the hotel, the sunlight was just right. I took a deep breath and completely left Ethan and everything from the past behind me. I blocked all of Ethan's contact information, vowing never to meet again, no matter how far the mountains and rivers. For the next 20 years, I used the $200,000 Ethan gave me, along with some of my own savings, to start my journey around the world. I watched the sunset under the Eiffel Tower in Paris, rode a gondola in the water city of Venice, felt the weight of history in front of the Egyptian pyramids, and witnessed animal migrations on the African savanna. I learned diving, rock climbing, skydiving, trying everything I was too afraid to do when I was young. I learned painting, musical instruments, photography, cooking, and various languages. I share my experiences and insights on Instagram and Facebook, unexpectedly gaining many followers. They call me Rock and Roll Grandma Ava, saying I have become the person they dream of being. I went viral on the internet. By the time I was 90 years old, my body gradually no longer allowed me to undertake long journeys. I returned to my long-absent hometown and opened a small bookstore in a nearby town. The bookstore was not large, but it was very cozy. I spent my days reading books, planting flowers, and chatting with passing guests. Life is peaceful and pleasant. Occasionally, I hear some news about Ethan and Chloe from old friends. It is said that their married life is a complete mess. Chloe is not someone who knows how to manage a household. The house is always in disarray, and the meals are a total disaster. The two often quarreled fiercely over trivial matters, even resorting to physical fights. Ethan's company went bankrupt a few years ago due to poor management. He became increasingly despondent, drinking heavily every day to drown his sorrows. Once, an old friend came to see me and mysteriously told me, Ava, did you know? Ethan has actually been sending you messages all these years. Back then, I blocked him on all contact methods, and later changed my phone number without ever telling him. How did he get my number? I don't know either. My old friend shook his head. Maybe through Lily. But don't worry, I set it to do not disturb for you, so you won't see a single message from him. I smiled and didn't take it to heart. Until a few years ago, when I got a new phone and was organizing the information on my old phone, I accidentally saw a large number of unread messages from a blocked unknown number. When I opened them, they were all from Ethan. Starting from the second month after I left, there were messages almost every day. At first, they were apologies and confessions, saying he knew he was wrong and begging for my forgiveness. Later, there were all kinds of complaints, grumbling about how unhappy his life with Chloe was, saying how much he missed me, missed the meals I cooked, and missed the orderly home I managed. Then, there were some everyday trivial talks, how the weather was today, what he saw, and how he thought of me. I quickly skimmed through those messages, feeling waves of nausea. I closed the messages, opened a short video app, and watched a few videos of handsome guys dancing to suppress that feeling of disgust. People should live in the present and look forward. Ethan passed away at the age of 103. A few days later, Chloe also committed suicide. When I heard the news, I was sitting in a rocking chair, basking in the sun while watching a handsome guy's live stream. No ripples stirred within my heart. Their lives have long ceased to concern me. Live in the moment. Enjoy each day. That is what truly matters. On my 105th birthday, I bought myself a big fruitcake. Over the years, old friends around me have passed away one after another, and my daughter Lily also died a few years ago. Mark took good care of Lily until her last moment. Lily passed away peacefully. I sold the bookstore in advance and donated all my savings, along with the money earned from publishing books and being an online influencer over the years, to a Hope Primary School in a remote mountainous area, building them a library. On the day the library was completed, I was invited to attend the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Watching the children in the brand new library, holding books and reading voraciously, their faces beaming with happiness, I felt an unprecedented sense of fulfillment. I hope this knowledge can help them leave the mountains and see the world beyond. I was momentarily stunned, because I have already experienced on their behalf how beautiful this world is. A few years later, on a sunny afternoon, I sat in the rocking chair that once belonged to the bookstore and closed my eyes. I felt my soul rising lightly into the air. I saw downstairs many children crying, along with some familiar and unfamiliar faces, coming from all directions to bid me farewell. It turned out to be a joyful funeral. My soul transformed into countless tiny particles of light, merging into a soft white light gate not far away. I hesitated not at all, smiled, and stepped inside. A new life. Here I come again. If I had known today, why bother with the past?